Okay, let's unpack this. How do you even begin to fight an immortal tyrant? Someone who's ruled for 1,000 years, controls people's emotions, commands these inhuman agents.
Right. It sounds completely impossible.
It really does. But the fascinating book we're getting into today, well, it actually gives us some surprising answers. Compelling ones, too.
Welcome. Yeah, we're exploring excerpts from this captivating book. Picture a world just draped in ash and mist, living under the shadow of this immortal Lord Ruler.
And our mission here is not just plot summary.
No, definitely not. We want to extract the strategies, the psychological insights, the sheer audacity it took for this small group to challenge what seemed like an unbreakable empire.
And, as we're digging into this, looking at all the layers, we're kind of applying techniques similar to what we explore on our Mindful Moments YouTube channel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that channel uses AI analysis to help you get deeper insights, reflect critically on complex texts, just like the kind of strategic thinking and dynamics we're seeing in this book.
Stepping into this world, you're immediately hit by this profound bleakness. I mean, imagine a land just constantly covered in ash. The sun's barely a memory.
Crops all wilted and brown.
Exactly. And this ever-present mist that rolls in every night, deeply, deeply feared. It's more than just a backdrop. It's part of the oppression.
And that physical reality mirrors the social structure, doesn't it? This rigid hierarchy.
Completely. At the top, the all-powerful Lord Ruler. Then below him, the cruel nobility. People like Lord Tresting.
Tresting. His actions, especially towards Scot women, it's horrific. And it's validated chillingly by those bureaucratic obligators.
And that detail, forcing them to be killed afterwards to prevent half-breeds who might get powers, it tells you everything about the system's paranoia and control.
The obligators are key to that control.
Absolutely. They're not just paper pushers. They're religious figures, visible symbols of the Lord Ruler's authority, enforcing his will, witnessing every official act.
And the Inquisitors.
Yeah. The ultimate enforcers. Terrifying, inhuman creatures, universally feared, those metal spikes through their eyes. Unforgettable image.
And right at the bottom of it all, the Ska.
Treated as less than human. Forced labor, living in hovels, terrified of the mists. Their lives basically seen as disposable.
You mentioned Tresting talking about cleaning up messes to avoid Inquisitor attention. It shows how even lower nobility just internalize and perpetuate that brutality.
But even in this suffocating world, you get this spark. Kelsier, the survivor, he calls himself.
The only one known to have escaped the pits of Hathsin. Those distinctive scars.
Right, from climbing out. And it's more than just physical survival. It's symbolic. It challenges the Lord Ruler's absolute control.
He travels around, right, bringing news, stirring things up.
He does, challenging that deep-seated fear. And we learn pretty quickly his anger is fueled by this intense past trauma, his wife, Mare, dying beside him in the pits.
He has powers, too.
Yeah, he burns tin, Allomancy. It boosts his senses dramatically. He can hear whispers from amazing distances, see in the gloom.
So the Ska, they're terrified, but they also kind of cling to him.
Exactly. For hope, for news. Even someone like Old Menace, who initially curses Kelsier for causing trouble, later finds purpose with the rebellion in the caves. It shows the change Kelsier represents. New days indeed, as Menace puts it.
And alongside Kelsier, we meet Vin. Her life is harsh.
Understatement. Survival and thieving crews, like Cayman's. Constant vigilance, fear of being alone, shaped by her brother Reen abandoning her.
Reen's lessons. Ruthlessness was the very most practical of emotions. Ooh, that sticks with you. Life is harsh. Distrust everyone.
Deeply ingrained. But Vin has these abilities. She calls it her luck at first.
But it's allomancy.
Right. Access to all 8 basic internal metals. Meaning she's potentially Mistborn, but she doesn't understand it initially, which makes her dangerous and a target. Draws the attention of a Steel Inquisitor.
Kelsier finds her, sees that potential, and starts putting together his crew.
And it's not just random people, it's specialists. Diverse skills tailored for taking on an empire.
Like Duxon, the planner.
The pragmatist, yeah. Logistics, the crucial, unglamorous work. He's wary of Kelsier's more reckless side, keeps things grounded.
Then him. He's a Pewteron.
Burns Pewter. Incredible strength, endurance, healing. He's the muscle, the security, the warrior element, and fiercely loyal to Kelsier.
Reese is different. A soother.
Burns brass, subtly dampens emotions around him. Very manipulative, always well-dressed. He's skeptical about the big plan, wants his reward, but he's effective.
And clubs. A smoker.
Burns copper. creates a cloud that hides allomancy use, invaluable for secrecy, runs a workshop as a front. Bit curmudgeonly, he actually leaves later, thinks Kelsier's plan is suicidal.
Then there's Yaden, the ska leader.
Provides the funding, the base in the caves. He needs the crew skills, even if he doesn't fully trust thieves. Gets a bit jealous later about Kelsier's attention.
In Marsh, Kelsier's brother. A Feker.
Burns bronze, consents other allomancers. He's deep undercover in the ministry, acting as a spy, but he seriously questions Kelsier's motives. Thinks it's ego, revenge, maybe wealth. Not really about the ska.
So Kelsier lays out this plan, and it just sounds insane.
Utterly audacious. Not just survive, not just escape. Overthrow the Lord Ruler. Steal his adium hoard from the pits. Destroy the Empire's infrastructure. Kill the immortal tyrant.
It makes it clear it's personal, too.
Yeah.
Rooted in the pits. Mare's death. Settling an unsettled debt.
And a huge part of this crazy plan involves Vin, her transformation.
Right, infiltrating the nobility.
Exactly. Pose as Lady Valette, a noblewoman from far away. Gather intelligence, sow chaos from the inside.
And this is where Sast comes in. He's crucial.
Absolutely essential. A talisman keeper. Their whole purpose is preserving knowledge from before the Lord Ruler. History, religions, languages like ancient Cluny.
They store it in metal mines using Feruchemy.
Sest can store and later tap things like physical strength, weight, even sight. That's why he sometimes needs glasses. He becomes Vin's steward, her mentor, teaching her noble ways.
And the Lord Ruler fears the Keepers, wants them gone.
Tells you how dangerous knowledge can be to a tyrant. So Vin's in court. Must have been incredibly awkward at first.
Totally alien.
Okay.
Ball's adventure keep, Elarial keep, learning etiquette.
But she adapts surprisingly fast. Uses her allomancy smartly. Burning tin to eavesdrop, copper to hide her own powers.
And she starts too, kind of. Like parts of it. The dresses, maybe, shows her adapting.
And in the middle of all this deception, she meets Eland Venture.
Who's different.
Exactly. Not the typical noble fop.
Yeah.
He reads philosophy, questions the system. Their interactions become really significant personally and maybe strategically. He's a potential crack in that noble facade.
And they use Vin's position strategically, right? Spreading rumors.
Calculated gossip, using sources like Kliss, manipulating house alliances, to Keel, Geffenry, creating distrust, chaos, forged documents suggesting House Hasting is pulling out.
Which Kelsier then uses to spark house wars, destabilizing the whole structure. It's clever, using social maneuvering as a weapon.
So the rebellion kicks off on multiple fronts. It's complex.
Yeden's training the Ska army in the caves.
Right, with Ham helping initially. Kelsier visits, inspires them, gives them hope.
But he's also lying to them about the army's real purpose.
Well, yeah. He later admits it was mostly a diversion for the adium heist. Breeze calls him out on it, shows Kelsier's willingness to use people, sacrifice them for his bigger, more personal goals.
Meanwhile, Marsh is doing the dangerous work inside the ministry.
Deep infiltration. He finds out how effective they are, but the big discovery is the hidden soothing stations all over the city.
Burning brass to keep the population docile.
Subconsciously dampening emotions on a mass scale. It's horrifying. Systemic emotional manipulation layered on top of everything else.
And Kelsier's making very public moves.
Attacking noble houses, like raiding House Venture for ADMM, but making sure he's seen. Spreading rumors of multiple Mistborn. Building paranoia.
Cultivating that Lord of the Mists image, a symbol for the Ska. Building his own myth.
Things escalate fast. The house wars start. Violence spreads among the nobles. Then the turning point. The garrison slaughters Ska near the gate.
Over something minor.
Pretty much, but it's brutal. Pushes the population over the edge, triggers massive riots, exactly what some theorists predicted would happen eventually.
We see other critical moments, too, like Clubs' place getting attacked by an Inquisitor.
Raises huge questions. Security breach, betrayal. Adds to the tension.
And Vin gets her first major win, killing Shan Alarial.
Who's also Mistborn. At a ball, no less. That duel shows Vin's growth. Using pewter, iron, her wits, and adium, seeing those future shadows.
Kelsier notices something special about her power then, right? How she resisted his soothing earlier.
Yeah, he senses she's different. Powerful in a way even he doesn't fully grasp yet. Few can shrug off emotional allomancy like that.
Eland's getting suspicious about Lady Valette, too.
His father warns him, others too. Felt investigates Club's shop, confirms the front. Eland realizes she's not who she says she is.
But he's not angry.
More intrigued, actually. Believes there's more to it than just theft. It kind of reflects his own growing dissatisfaction with his world.
Then that big confrontation in the square. Kelsier freeing prisoners.
Her new and spook, yeah. Kelsier fights an inquisitor. Very dramatic. Public display of power. Ham's thugs cause a distraction.
And Breeze uses soothing.
To control the crowd and the soldiers' emotions, creates enough confusion and apathy for the escape. Clever use of different abilities working together. Then, the shocker. Kelsier's captured. And killed.
The Lord Ruler just appears, catches him off guard.
Seems that way. The execution is public, brutal, swift. But Kelsier uses his last breath to shout, "He cannot be killed," reinforcing the myth.
It must have been devastating for Vin, for the crew. He seemed unbeatable.
Absolutely. The impossibility of it sinks in. But then, another twist.
You knew. The guy they just rescued.
Reveals himself. He's a Kandra, a shapeshifter. Originally Mist-wraiths. They use bones and mimic the dead perfectly.
So Kelsier planned this, using a Kandra.
Another layer to his long game shows his strategic depth, his willingness to use unconventional means.
And the Kandra delivers Kelsier's final instructions.
Not last words, but tactical commands. Distribute weapons to the rioting ska. Attack the soothing stations. Use Breeze's soothers to boost courage. Different teams, specific targets.
But Vin and Skized are left off the map.
Deliberately, which sets up their next move.
Vin just decides to go after the Lord Ruler herself.
Yeah. Ignores the plan. Driven by grief, this growing awareness of her own power, she heads for that heavily guarded chamber Kelsier couldn't reach. Believes she can do it.
Her walk through the rioting city towards the palace. Powerful image.
Confronts the same guards Kelsier attacked earlier. Inside this huge glass room, patterned like mist, the Lord Ruler on his throne, seemingly calm.
What's he like, the Lord Ruler?
Appears young, handsome, exaggerated uniform. He's actively soothing the whole city, sees the riots as just a necessary purging.
And his logbook reveals his history. The hero of ages.
Chosen by ancient prophecies. But 1,000 years of that burden has twisted him. He's tired, hates the old empire, believes Terracemen deserve dominance, and he can sense lies. Unsettling.
Dan. Marsh shows up.
The biggest shock. Alive, but transformed. An inquisitor. They weren't investigating him. They were recruiting him.
Horrifying. And Marsh fights the Lord Ruler.
He does. Twisted, but maybe a spark of his old self remains.
But it's Vin who deals the final blow.
Yeah. She fights back against his soothing, burning copper, shields her, uses her anger, desperation, draws power from the mists themselves, focuses her, pushing and pulling on his metal bracelets.
Those weren't just jewelry.
His feruchemical metal mines, storing centuries, millennia of physical and cognitive power, tearing them off strips them of that power. Defeats him.
Sazed and Eland arrive then.
Sazed followed Vin, got captured, beaten, but stuck to his keeper's oath to protect her. Eland, finally convinced by everything, comes back with soldiers, rescues them.
Vin acknowledging he came back. That must mean a lot to her.
Given her past abandonment, yeah. And she recognizes her own part, saying she helped start this.
So, immediate aftermath. Lord Ruler gone. Vin, Sazed, Marsh, hurt but alive. Eland gets pulled into the victory.
And ends up crowned king. Sazed, with his historical view, reflects they put a good man on the throne. A huge contrast. Hope, but also immense responsibility. Uncertainty.
The book ends with Vin recovering, practicing her Allomancy on top of Keep Venture.
Right. Former symbol of noble power. The mists are around her, protecting, empowering. She starts to sense that deeper connection. What Mistborn really means. Born with the mists.
Still figuring out who she is. Vin, Valette. Her place in this new world she helped make.
Looking back, this book gives us so much insight into power, how it corrupts, oppresses, but also how it can be challenged.
And resistance isn't just one thing.
Exactly. It's multifaceted, open rebellion, infiltration, manipulation, sacrifice.
We see these incredible transformations through struggle. Vin's journey, Eland's unexpected path to leadership.
And complex legacies like Kelsier's. Inspiration, mythmaker, martyr. But also lies and manipulation. Can the ends justify those means? It makes you think.
These themes go way beyond fantasy, don't they? How do you find truth when narratives conflict? Like the Lord Ruler seeing himself as a hero versus Kelsier's manufactured myth.
How do we recognize and challenge oppression? Physical, social, even emotional, like those soothing stations. What makes a good leader or person in really tough times?
Exploring these complex questions, digging into different perspectives in the text, that's really what we try to do here.
Fostering that critical thinking, that reflection. Similar to the kind of analysis you can explore on our Mindful Moments YouTube channel with its AI approach to book analysis and, across all of our podcasts.
Right. So considering the Lord Ruler's own journals, seeing himself as the necessary hero of ages
Yeah.
and the huge cost of the rebellion, it leaves you with a final, maybe unsettling thought.
Yeah, in a world built on lies and oppression, where winning freedom demands its own difficult compromises, is it really possible for the victors to build something new without becoming somehow tainted by what they fought against?
Something to chew on. We hope this exploration gave you a new angle on the incredible story in this book, sparked some ideas. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive.
And maybe share this episode with a friend, someone who loves fantasy or thinking about power and rebellion.
You can find the book we discussed today if you want to experience the world firsthand. And, as always, keep thinking critically about the stories and information you encounter.